Fact is stranger than fiction, no doubt. But what is even stranger is a government setting up an exclusive fact-checking unit. Is the intent behind such units to counter fake news or to police the media? Vanakkam, this is T. Suresh Kumar. Thank you for joining me in this episode of the Hindu Focus Tamil Nadu. Today, we shall discuss about a controversial decision of the Tamil Nadu government to set up a fact-check unit. Last month, the DMK government quietly issued a government order setting up a fact-check unit in Chennai, which will comprise 80 staff members, including a mission director who shall be paid a salary of Rs 3 lakh. This exercise shall involve a recurring annual expenditure of more than Rs 3.55 crore, and the initial cost setup would involve Rs 1.41 crore. Essentially, in the first year, the government is going to spend more than Rs 5 crore to check facts. The mandate for this fact check unit, which shall comprise central task force and also have staff across districts in Tamil Nadu, is to check the authenticity of information and news related to the government of Tamil Nadu. Essentially, they will check news related to the policies, schemes, guidelines and initiatives of the Tamil Nadu government. So, any news which this particular unit feels is contrary to fact and contrary to what the government says can be taken up for action. This unit is empowered to take suo motu cognizance of news across media platforms, which means not only are they going to check the social media platform, but they are also going to check for fact information that is disseminated by the traditional print media, the television channels, digital news platforms and much more. They will also handle complaints from third parties related to news that is out in the public domain. Once that is done, this team or the central task force, as they say, of the fact finding unit or fact checking unit will divide the complaints and the suo motu cognizance of offences, that is so called offences that it is taken, into actionable and non-actionable pool. And the news that falls within the category of actionable pool, the task force will confer with members of the government, more particularly the legal department and the police department, and then if necessary they will forward it for legal action. So in essence, when the government says that it wants to counter misinformation directed at government policies, critics have pointed out that this only means that it becomes a potent weapon in the hands of the government to police the media, to intimidate the media from putting out news that is critical of government policies or guidelines or instructions. Strangely, this fact check unit will not function under the Department of Information and Public Relations. Instead, it will come under the authority of the Department of Special Program Implementation, which is headed by Chief Minister M.K. Stalin's son, Udhayanidhi Stalin. So essentially, the government has tried to negate the role of the Department of Information and Public Relations, which has been in the business of disseminating information and countering narratives against the government till date. Curiously, while the Tamil Nadu government has been opposed to several policies of the union government, such as the National Education Policy and the IAS rules, has, for the sake of setting up this fact check unit, conveniently cited the union government's IT rules of 2021, Information Technology Rules 2021, which were notified by the Union Ministry of Electronics and IT to defend the decision to set up a fact check unit dealing with information related to government business. What the Tamil Nadu government has conveniently ignored or overlooked is the fact that the IT Rules 2023, which is nothing but an amended rule of 2021 IT rules, has been challenged in the Bombay High Court by the Editors Guild of India and others. And during the course of the hearing on this petition earlier this year, the Bombay High Court had observed that words such as fake news, false news and misleading information are problematic. More particularly, the court said the expression misleading is extremely problematic because it is an opinion. What is misleading for somebody could not be misleading for someone else. So misleading is very subjective. The Bombay High Court has now reserved its verdict in the case. It said it will deliver the judgment on December 1st. In the meanwhile, an AIDMK functionary has gone to the Madras High Court with a public interest litigation challenging the Tamil Nadu government's decision to set up a fact-check unit. The petitioners argued that this is nothing but an attempt to muzzle media freedom and also curb the freedom of the opposition parties. What course these cases in the Bombay High Court and the Madras High Court take remains to be seen. But in the meantime, I don't think it would be a bad idea for Chief Minister Stalin to rethink the decision to have an exclusive fact-check unit and instead leave the job of countering misinformation to the DIPR. After all, during the COVID pandemic, the DIPR and the Health Department did an excellent job in countering misinformation on the pandemic and on the vaccination process. As it is, the government is empowered to take action against those spreading fake news. We saw such action being taken against those who spread a false information that migrant workers in Tamil Nadu were attacked some months ago. The government can also has been taking in fact action against journalists for news that is not palatable to it using the powers of criminal defamation suits. Besides, there have been actions where police have arrested journalists wherever they found that a particular news was fake or that would be in the nature of disturbing law and order, peace and tranquility. So all these powers are with the government, and therefore an additional fact-check unit that would hang as a Damocles sword on journalists is definitely not necessary at the moment. It involves wasteful expenditure. As I said, the very first year involves about 5 crore rupees. That money could be spent elsewhere. It is time the Tamil Nadu government takes a relook at it. I shall meet you in another video. Until then, this is D. Suresh Kumar signing off. Thank you.